Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Arrow of Time. My name is Matt.
I'm Joseph.
I'm Gabe.
And today we have an episode, which is
That's true.
Number 131.
131. I always launch into and today we have, without ever having any destination, I just have that line. Today we have, and then I just leave myself hanging, and I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen next? That's not the lead that I wanted. Abort. My brain is going wiggly.
It's too bad we can't edit these.
Yeah. Anyway, we watched an episode of Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yes. But first, I thought it might be fun to share a little bit from our personal lives.
Why would we do that, Matthew?
Because it's fun, and it seems as though you two... Oh,
Cheers.
Cheers. This is all I ordered this week, folks.
It seems as though Joseph and Gabe, you two have been involved in a big happening that recently, I guess it would just be a big happening.
Is that an M. Night Shyamalan film?
Yeah, you were part of an M. Night Shyamalan film.
But the twist is, we weren't.
Ooh.
Wrap your heads around that one.
So there was a big thing that happened at Disneyland, and that then plastered all over the internets for a while. And you guys were a part of it, which I think is kind of cool.
We were there.
It's that really just awful remake of the Tower of Terror. Oh my god. It's gaudy. It's pointless. Well, it's very pointy.
No, I think there's a lot of points on it.
But no, I give it a big thumbs down.
Well, there you have it.
2 thumbs down.
2 thumbs down on the Tower of Collectors. No, it's so you guys were in the presence of the great Jonathan Depp.
That's right.
We happened to see him live in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Yeah, so
playing a certain Captain Jack Sparrow.
So what happened? You went to Disneyland to hang out for a couple of days.
We did.
Like you do.
Yes, and you went over to Pirates of the Caribbean that day.
And we were warned, the whole queue, that there's filming today, and if you don't want to be filmed, come back tomorrow.
And you said, screw that, I'm on a podcast. I can be filmed all I want.
We're like, the worst going to happen is they might use our likeness in a commercial. Big whoop.
So, was the ride any different? Did it, when did you notice something was afoot?
So for most of the ride, for the beginning of the ride, it was normal. And there's a point when you go into the Spanish village being sacked, and we noticed coming into that room that all the lights were on, so you could see way more than you normally could see, and
all the imperfections.
You could see the ceiling, you could see the air vents. The effects were turned off, so there was no clouds, no fog, and the cannonballs that should be hitting the water weren't splashing.
Oh wow!
They also had set up some studio lights, up in some of the vantage points, in the top of the city walls.
Oh, interesting.
So that was different, and it's obviously they needed a certain amount of light to do filming. But then we come around the city wall, and I'm still looking at all the lights, and almost everybody in the boat gasps. So I look up and I see a live person dressed like Jack Sparrow on the little city ledge there.
Is this the drowning the mayor scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's unusual, obviously.
Yeah. I know there's that animatronic that's right around the corner there.
That was not there.
That was just, they took that out.
They took that out, and they had Johnny Depp there in its place. So again, as we get closer, I'm like, wow, this looks a lot like Johnny Depp. They did a really good job finding a lookalike.
Oh wow.
The whole boat is pointing and waving, and he's pointing and waving back.
Did he say anything?
Yeah, he was talking.
Oh, okay. Do you remember what he said?
Something about needing a boat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in character.
Yeah. He was mic'd, but it was a little hard to clearly hear what he was saying, in his trademark drunken way.
But we got within like 10 feet of him because he was like near the edge of that little scene.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I was convinced that it was. Well, by the time we saw him up close, I thought that could actually be him. But I thought there's no way they would have him just hanging out there filming a commercial with us mass heathens. But
that
was him.
He was protected by several feet of water.
Really, anybody could jump off the boat and got to him.
You don't want to touch that water.
He did have a sword, though.
He did have a sword.
Yes.
Yeah, so he could have totally just no, you're dead. But I didn't know. When I saw the person, it's like, okay, cool, they got someone out here. I don't know what Johnny Depp looks like well enough to have identified that as a man I should be caring about.
Right. I should mention that Joseph. I tried to get him to watch Pirates of the Caribbean,
and Joseph would not.
He got about halfway through and decided that he didn't like it and got up and left.
Oh, Joseph! I like that.
I thought it was a great movie. I've not loved. I know we're on the Johnny Depp cast here.
Yeah,
I did not love some of the later films, but that first one I thought was really good.
Yeah, and actually, to kind of, I guess, tie this around back with Doctor Who.
There's also a Captain Jack.
Oh yes, Captain Jack. No, one of my friends, Heather, who's been on this podcast before, she very much fangirled out over Doctor Who, and she said that she fangirled out over Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, she was like super into it. I'm like, really? Because I was super into it, and then I think we kind of like had this like little bond of over that, and the kind of just the way that I think some of the writing was in that time, especially with David Tennant, where it kind of seemed a little bit like that. And so there's a lot of like bridges and stuff over on witty Captain Jack Sparrow and witty 10th Doctor or witty 11th Doctor. Maybe not so much angry 12th, but yeah. Anyway, that's so awesome. And probably another reason why it explains why Disney has raised their ticket prices so much now that they have actual celebrities in their movies and their rides. So
they're replacing animatronics with live actors.
Yes. So get out to Disneyland with your podcast juices and check out some celebs.
So just to be clear, we're not saying that you'll see celebrities. Do not be mad at us if you do not see celebrities.
Anyway.
That's all getting cut.
I think we're getting onto some thin ice here.
We're getting on the thumb. No, we're not. That's not real. The ice is not melting. What?
Oh, you mean this new episode?
I was making a comment from this new episode.
This new episode, which occurs on a frozen river.
Yes. So this latest Doctor Who. Welcome to the Doctor Who portion of this podcast. So this episode takes place right after the last episode.
I don't believe you.
Oh, yeah. Which is interesting. I mean, jokey about that. However, we've definitely been through some seasons where we've lost a bit of time between the episode that we last saw and then the episode that we're watching now.
Oh, right.
Yes.
So, but now it seems to be a new thing where it's just like, this is literally running into the next, like the way that the episode ends, or
yes.
The last episode ends, this episode begins.
They tease this episode in the ending of the previous one.
Right. Which is the same thing at the end of this episode.
No, I think that it seemed clear to me that the next episode will have some time between.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Unless for some, I don't know.
No, I think it was pretty obvious that.
Oh, well, there you go, dashing my ideas and theories.
Sorry. That's what I do.
Sarah Dollar didn't get the memo.
I mean, it's possible they were made out of order. I mean, it was pretty cool, I think, that they did the lead-in last time.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of something from the RTD era or even some classic Who.
Yeah.
It was kind of nice, but
Well, of course the first one. Oh, another. Well, no, actually, because there wasn't a lead in for the first one, right? Are you? I don't know. I can't remember. That was so many times ago. But since we had the whole like parallel of we're kind of starting everything over again, I'm just remembering in Unearthly Child where it ended at the beginning of the first Dalek episode, the Metal Planet or whatever that, I don't know. Angry.
I haven't seen an episode in 50 years.
Oh, anyway, yes. So, yeah, anyway. It seems like they're taking parallels from that and slamming it into their series. So, but I guess that stops with this episode. Hooray! I don't know. I don't care.
I mean, I think there's probably some production issues in that because it has to be pre-planned. The writers have to.
They have to write it first, and they didn't have enough time to write it.
What do you mean? I have 18 months.
They need some synergy. I mean, it's cool when it works.
Oh my gosh!
What do you think this is? You'll plan a TV show. We just go to the studio,
we
play camera or something.
We can't just spit out a TV show in 18 months. Who do you think we are, Americans? In
Maybe
18 months.
Oh, did we ever think about this? Maybe we're only seeing 12 episodes, but in fact there are a lot more, and then it's not giving them to us.
Oh, like the Japanese with
So,
Final
like-
Fantasies.
Like there's gaps. So we just happen to get these 2 episodes back to back. But there's going to be like 4 more before we get the next one. And it's like, yeah, we're not going to localize those.
Sure.
Well, good.
It's a lot of work redubbing these things into American
It
English.
really is. It really is.
So
It has to be. There's a difference between English and American English.
well, okay, but let's like get down
And then
to,
dubbing it back into English from American English to make it sound authentic. It's a lot of work, Gabe.
It sounded like British English to me, but let's get down to the nitty gritty here. What did you guys think of the episode?
I'll let someone else go first.
What'd you think, Matt?
Well, so I wanted to dislike it more
Yes.
because here's the thing.
You like the emperor over there?
Yes,
I
fuel
like-
the hatred.
I liked Smile, and then Joseph didn't like Smile, and you didn't like Smile, and then you guys were like, this is how we don't like Smile. And then Joseph is always going to not like something. So it's really, at this point, Gabe, you and I. So it's like whoever decides with Joseph at this point. So I kind of wanted to really dislike this episode so I could, like,
Join the dark
Yeah.
side.
I'm the swing vote. That means that I'm more important than you guys.
that means you're messing up the whole election for everybody. Are you the one voting for Jill Stein over here? Oh,
Politicast. Drink.
I'm sure that 95% of people don't know who Jill Stein is.
I know who R.L. Stein is.
Well, Google Jill Stein.
Okay. So
So you wanted to not like it.
I wanted to. Okay, so first, when I first watched it on Saturday, I really didn't.
Which was yesterday.
Which was yesterday. I honestly didn't like it as much. It's not that I thought it was necessarily like bad. Like, so this is where I kind of put it. I put it in the box of like the what was the David Tennant one where with the first one with the Ood, the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit, where those weren't necessarily bad episodes, but I wish not to revisit them really ever. But so and that's what I kind of thought with this, and just kind of popping in just now when you guys were rewatching it, I realized that I missed a lot of things that kind of redeemed it a bit. So there were things about it that I like, but overall, and so I think that there were bits that I actually really, really did like. There were bits that I really liked. However, I'm still at that point when I'm missing the fun of Doctor Who. And here's the sad thing that I was thinking about. But I think so far the Capaldi era is probably my least favorite era. I know. For this reason, though. Not because of Capaldi. I just feel like so far, like, most of the episodes in his era are just so kind of, like, dark and heavy that it's taking a lot of the fun out of the show that I fell in love with. That happened with, like... I mean, even Christopher Eccleston seemed like he did there's a tone in his episodes where even though he was a much like angrier, kind of more bitter doctor, but because of the tone of the episodes, things were a little bit more fun. And it seems like Capaldi's a great freaking doctor, one of the best. I would say one of my favorite ones. However, I feel like a lot of the writing surrounding it is bringing it down a little bit. My opinion, though. That's very controversial.
So, last night, I mean, full disclosure to the listeners, when I watched last night, I was a little pissed, as in drunk. And
he was a way bit past.
And
I'm sorry for all the Scottish people I offended just now.
I do distinctly remember after watching it telling Joseph and Matt that I liked that. And then today, while beginning to write notes for the podcast, I couldn't quite remember why. And then we rewatched it, and I remembered why.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that this era of Doctor Who has been a bit heavy. But I think that Capaldi's Doctor is one of the best. I think that Capaldi the actor, is able to bring a certain light touch. It's, the looks he gives, it's the sort of like, he can be cold and saying cold things.
Right.
But then actually act warm.
Right.
And I think that comes across so clearly. And this episode was, I think, almost the perfect vehicle to get that across. There was that speech when he's talking to Bill, when Bill asks how many people he's seen die. And the doctor's like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
He says, I care, but I move on. And he's asked, what happens if I don't move on? More people die. So he says that, and it comes across a bit cold, and Bill is a bit upset at the doctor's apparent indifference.
I feel like I was having flashbacks of the 50th.
Yeah.
You didn't count the children. How many years does that was my David Tennant. Is that all? I'm sorry for all the David Tennants out there that I've offended.
But, I mean, the episode, so that's what he says. And it comes across as cold and dark and even a bit depressing, dour.
Yeah.
But then his actions through the entire episode reflect that he does care about every human life. That when Joseph made a comment about when he grabs the screwdriver from the kid that got sucked in the ice.
Yeah.
Just like, well, that's dark. But no, the doctor did care. But he has to put on this front. And then it's almost like, don't listen to what he says. Look at how he acts. Obviously, every human life matters. And there's a certain warmth. Like the scene with him reading to the children. I mean, the doctor, especially this doctor, is not cold. He's not indifferent. he conveys a bit of warmth even through his curmudgeon-y, what's the right word I'm looking for? The thing that he's presenting isn't the way that he is, and the actions speak louder than the words.
Yes, so I can see that. It just seems like there's a big blanket of darkness all around, which that's the thing that kind of bums me out. But it's different writing for this is what they wanted. So, and again, I don't disagree with you with Capaldi being one of the best. I think that Capaldi's Doctor is one of the best, and I was actually even thinking that in a way, and this might be stepping over boundaries with you, Gabe. So I apologize if I offend, but I'm almost kind of thinking that Capaldi's getting Sylvester McCoy treatment, where he's a great doctor, but like there's a lot of elements around him that is just kind of dragging things down. For me.
There's a lot of buying cat food for 10 minutes, is what you're saying.
Yes.
And we have that to look forward to.
We have the exact same writer. So, Capaldi will literally get the Sylvester McCoy treatment coming up in a few episodes here, but we'll hold off on that.
Well, no, so I think I said this before on this podcast. I think that sci-fi is best when it can mean something bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I enjoyed Matt Smith, I don't really see any, and it's not him, it's the writing around him, but I don't see any episodes that were bigger than entertainment. There was no allegory, there was no special trying to use the stories as a vehicle for a bigger meaning. And I've seen that in the Capaldi era. And it's the same showrunner.
Yeah.
But I think that it seems to me that Moffat is getting a little bit more socially conscious. Like I've compared him, I don't think I said this on the podcast, but I've compared him talking to us as sort of like a Joss Whedon kind of figure here in America.
You're comparing Stephen Moffat to Joss Whedon. That is quite the comparison.
We lost all our subscribers. All of them gone instantly.
We know how we feel about Stephen Moffat.
I mean, he's a bit of a hack, but he is a well-meaning hack. He's somebody that sees that he has a soapbox that he can use to try to advocate for more equal rights and social change. And I appreciate that these past couple seasons he's been doing that.
Speaking of Joss Whedon is going to be doing the new Batgirl, switching over to DC. Anyway, heresy. No, he's got to spread his Joss Whedon love around.
His Joss Whedon's Joss Whedon. I can't do anything with that.
So who's doing the Wonder Woman that comes out next month?
I don't know.
No one.
Zack Snyder.
Oh, God.
Probably. I don't know.
How can we make it awful? I know. Get Zack Snyder in here. He completely misses the point of everything.
He's a new showrunner for... No.
It'd be fine. No.
Oh, fine. Just let him do it.
Whatever.
Anyway, that was a depressing thought. Good thing Chris Chibnall's taking the reins and not...
My goodness. He wrote Wonder Woman.
Chris Chibnall?
Snyder?
Zack Snyder.
Oh, dear.
You weren't too far off.
Oh, dear.
But he didn't direct it. He just wrote it and co-produced it.
Oh, that's a good sign. Maybe somebody can take his hackery and... Because...
De-hack it?
Thankfully, they got a woman to direct it. Because if they didn't, what's the point? Really?
Maybe all his like big crazy moments where it just has people standing with like their capes flapping in the wind and all that, and that like he'll just like write that, and then Wonder Woman looked really cool standing on a hill looking down upon all of her minions.
I feel like you're doing a Stan Lee voice.
It's like a half Stan Lee, half nerdy guy. I don't know.
I don't know what Zack Snyder sounds like.
I have no idea, so I just did that voice. So that's a voice I'd never thought I'd do on this podcast. Zack Snyder. Okay. Yay, voices. So we were talking about Doctor Who for a second. Sorry.
That is our mistake, folks. We will refrain from talking about Doctor Who whenever possible.
So, okay, yeah. And I think that what you're saying, Gabe, is very indicative of the climate. I think that there's a lot of climates around right now. A lot of climates. Where just what's going on over across the pond. And then there are things, happening around here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, there's nothing happening around here. This is not Politicast, but
everything is crazy everywhere around the world.
Crazy. Not in Australia. No, things are crazy in Australia all the time. They have face spiders.
You know where it's not? Where it's,
that's a movie called Alien. It's not real.
Somehow the one place that's not crazy is like Scandinavia. They're sane, level-headed, lovely people.
They're just going to their hot springs and
making furniture.
Eating chocolate. Making watches.
Yes.
They got it figured out somehow.
They got windmills everywhere up there.
Oh.
That's what you need, windmills.
I like chocolate and watches.
And windmills.
Everybody there is so beautiful.
That's it. We're moving there. Sorry, folks. Good night.
Are they naked at the hot springs?
If they want to be.
They don't have any rules over in Scandinavia.
No, they have rules, yes.
Just one rule. Be awesome to each other.
That's a good rule.
I think I might have misquoted that a little bit.
Yes. Be excellent to each other.
Excellent. Oh, it's
yes,
excellent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can we take that again? No. Oh, we can't edit this. That's right. I forgot.
No.
All right. Time for a break?
Well, yeah, let's take a break.
About half an hour.
Yeah, we definitely did do a half an hour and then some. But yeah, it depends on how much we're cutting down. Yeah.
About 5 minutes of Doctor Who in that, but
yes. We did. No, we gave our commentary, our opinions of Doctor Who. We did not scene by scene it.
I like Doctor Who.
I like Doctor Who too.
I'm still.
We did not get Joseph's opinion on it.
Jury's still out on Doctor Who. Oh, find out
after the break. Hey everybody, welcome back from the break. I hope you enjoyed that lovely music.
I'm still hearing it in my head right now.
I will know in the future what it was, but I don't know now because it's time travel.
That sounds like a paradox. Did Stephen Moff write this episode?
What did we use for the last one?
Our theme song.
The theme song.
We just used our theme song?
Well, so just for a little behind the scenes, with me and Joseph going to Disneyland, the podcast was a little bit rushed, including no photo for the post. I wrote the post at 2 a.m, well, a bit inebriated.
But it was a good post.
It was not my best.
Possibly our best.
It was not my best.
No.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you don't have resources or time or money.
That post was poetry, Gabe.
So again, I wrote this post at 2 a.m. after many drinks. It is not my finest work.
But it's good work. It's fine work. I'm legitimate. I'm not making fun of you. I'm saying that I enjoyed it. I was like, wow.
It could and should be improved. It needs to be fleshed out.
I'm sorry because I put my name on it and I shouldn't have done that.
Also, we need a photo for that post.
Well, folks, stay tuned for this week when we do last week.
You know what? In cases like these, I think it's better to just
move on.
Oh, that's good.
So in this episode, the Doctor means himself to go to back for tea. Because he promised Nardole at the end of episode 1.
2.
2?
2.
Smile. At the beginning of Smile.
Or was it at the beginning of Smile?
Right. Thank you.
Okay. So it's the beginning of Smile. Yes, because they're in the TARDIS doing things, and Nardle's like, and he's like, dude, make us tea, and then we'll be up in the freaking study. Don't worry about it, dude. Come on.
I used to have a sketch comedy show.
Yeah. And then I so want the guy from the planet that keeps on getting taken over to be on an episode with Nardole, and then they can
relive old times.
Yes, they can, and then like the guy from the planet that gets taken over or dominated all the time can like push Nardole around in the wheelchair.
His legs don't work after the reconstruction. I don't know.
Yes, but they really
we can
do.
Make this work.
But he's just faking it.
Right. And then he says, like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, no.
He sees him like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
yes.
like Michelin Webb better.
Yes.
Oh, I said it.
The robots.
Yes, they were the robots.
Yes. I love how they get like all these sketch comedy groups to be in the, has any Pythons been well, actually
In
John
the old
Cleese,
days,
yes, in
yes.
the old days, yes. In one of the bakers, right? One of the Tom Bakers, the
That
Key
was
to
a
Times.
City of Death.
City of Death, yes.
And you may remember a certain character, one Donna Noble,
Yes.
might have been a sketch comedy person type.
On the Donald Noble
On the
experiment.
Donna Noble show.
She's a comedian.
So it's not the first time that Doctor Who has had cross sections with the funnier types of people. Remember when Mr. Bean played the Doctor?
Oh yes, that's right. Hello, I'm the Doctor.
I really wish I knew these people's names, like for real.
That was Rowan Atkinson.
There we go. Yes, that's a very
I've got
British
a
name.
lovely bunch of coconuts, as Zazu from The Lion King.
That is also a thing. I would not have remembered his name in.
Yes. We're keeping it Disney. We're really keeping it Disney this episode. We talked about Disneyland and Disney movies and Marvel.
You started it.
I did start it, yeah.
How about that new Star Wars? Oh man,
I can't wait.
Oh, yes.
there's at least one robot in it.
Actually, when... I mean, you joke about that, but in Rogue One...
I never joke about Star Wars.
In Rogue One... Oh, my gosh, what was his freaking name? The guy who played...
The one who died?
No,
No, the other one who died.
It wasn't the guy who says it's a trap, but it was one of those types of beings.
Anakin. No,
The Mon Calamari.
yeah. I'm Admiral Akbar.
I'm pretty sure they're called Mon Calamari.
Oh, yeah, because Lucas is not particularly imaginative.
Right?
But
They're Mon Calamari.
Admiral Akbar, but like
I know that our listeners will be like,
Yeah.
oh, you stupids.
are stupids. No, that was a movie based off
Yes,
of a children's book,
They are the Mon Calamari.
The Mon Calamari.
So I am sad that I know Star Wars so well.
But
I do.
Nicholas Briggs
Who does a Dalek sometimes.
does like all the Daleks
Yes.
voiced that character.
Well, now, that means that Daleks exist in a galaxy far, far away?
And then there's also the CGI Grand Moff Tarkin, who was Doctor Who.
He was
the
Mr.
with capital D lowercase r
Mr.
period.
Who got his PhD.
Yes.
So, I think the real question is, who would win in a battle? Star Destroyer or Dalek Mothership?
But Nicholas Briggs would definitely be
The voices of all of it.
yes, all of the voices, and then throw Dan Starsky in for Starkey. Yeah, Dan Starkey.
Well, I think we're going to go on thin ice again.
We're getting on thin ice.
No, the ice is really thick here, you guys. Look at this. I'm not going to fall through at all, and these glowy lights aren't going to hurt us.
Yes.
So, as I hinted...
Apparently, we don't want to talk about the episode.
Well, no. So, as I said earlier, I really liked it.
Pilot fish. Does that remind anybody of anything?
No,
Okay, good.
it only happened twice before.
And part of why I liked it was that it was so socially aware.
Yes.
Like, almost immediately, Bill makes comment that her being non-white could be an issue in the 1800s of London.
And the only time that we've really ever delved into that,
Dwelled in?
Dwelled.
That's his dwarf name, Dwelled in.
Hello, I'm Dwelden. I would like a sample of cheese and bread. But yeah, what am I saying? I think that it was one of the few times that we've ever really kind of dealt with that issue. The last time I really remember us dealing with that issue was in the Family of Blood, where Martha was clean. But it was also kind of weird because I think it was like there was that line that they were kind of playing with, but they didn't completely go there because she's like, when they're talking about her not knowing what it, like how she knows like doctory things, and they're like, how could you know a doctor? It's like, she's like, oh, what? Because it's like, because I'm, and I think the idea in your head is like, because I'm black, but it's like, because you're a woman. And it was like, oh, yeah, you're that, you know.
Well, no, they mentioned it there, and they mentioned it also in Shakespeare Code. But
yeah.
But it's not dealt with in a like fully flushed out way, like it is kind of here. And
they like definitely
right. So Bill makes a comment also that she was surprised to see so many people of color, and the doctor says that history is a whitewash. So I mean, I think this is part of why I like the episode. It is the writers and producers being fully aware they're trying to get a message across, and I think they did it very well. I mean, that was top notch. A marks, whatever they say.
Yes,
but it was still fun because then, like, almost immediately, you have like Bill being first kind of afraid of the time travel things, saying that she could prevent her death,
which was also like, I remember that in the Shakespeare Code.
Yes,
and I think they even talked about the butterfly thing, although they went a step further in the Pleasing Matt Warburton vehicle and talked about Back to the Future
and Harry Potter. But this was a more serious,
somber.
I really liked that they addressed it, but then there was, again, still fun. Like, oh, you know, your friend Pete, he, you know, wiped himself out of existence, and Bill was like, Pete, who's Pete? And it was good. It was funny. It was cute. It was spot on.
I don't want to sound like a broken record. That's not a good reference anymore. I don't want to sound like a dirty CD. But this is definitely a case of some of the parts not adding up to a whole that is bigger than them.
That is what I was thinking, though. So yes, what did you think of things?
That is mostly what I thought of things. I think I said this on the break, and I'll say it again, but mangle it because I will have forgotten what I said exactly. This was an episode that occurred in front of my eyes, and that's all I can say about it. I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
I really liked it.
I thought that the Doctor was a doctor. Bill was what we now understand Bill to be.
Okay, guys, I have to fact check myself.
Don't do that.
Sorry, I have to. Nicholas Briggs was not in Rogue One.
What?
He did not do the voice I said he did. It was Paul Casey.
I think the simplest thing is just to cut both bits out of the podcast.
No, those must remain.
We will maintain the integrity of the timeline.
Oh, but I just want to say that still Doctor Who related. Paul Casey, Tin Dog.
You know, he tried to hit that ball, but he struck out.
Anyway, if you want to talk about striking out on balls...
Well, you can't strike out on balls because that means you walk.
I didn't even get that.
All right.
It's baseball humor. Anyway, did I say anything about an episode?
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. I apologize to our listeners.
So I really loved it. And I'm going to keep telling you why I loved it. So there's the little bit, just to get right into it. Obviously, if you watch the episode, you know there's a big fish thing that eats people. and
Yes.
poops out something better than coal.
Some sort of beast below.
I enjoyed the poop jokes.
I actually liked, because they never actually voiced it, but at one point Bill picks up one of the bricks
Yeah.
and kind of smells it and then puts it back down with a look on her face. And she never says a word about it, but it was clear what...
I mean,
She says half a word about it.
So regarding that, they they pretty much did everything but directly say that it was poop. I mean, they went as far as said when she said, "Is this mud?" And then the doctor said, well, "That's one way to phrase it, or that's one thing you can call it."
I would like to point out that I spent the last 3 episodes of this podcast editing out every reference to poop. So
Wait, what?
I don't think we can get around this one.
Poop. What's wrong with poop? We all poop.
Did we have references to poop?
Every single one.
Everybody poops.
And I've gotten rid
Everything
of it
poops.
every single time.
Worms poop. People poop.
That's not true.
Worms poop.
Worms are pure and godlike.
Worms eat dirt. Dirt eats
Dirt eats worms.
The earth.
Everybody poops.
There's that Aquabat song about worms eating dirt.
There's a book called Everybody Poops.
The beauty of this is I'm not editing this one, so who knows what's going to happen, folks?
Is poop offensive?
If
It's
I edit
sophomoric.
this, if I'm editing this, all of this is being left in, including the words I'm saying right now.
He'll actually what he'll do is he'll like duplicate all of this and like make it happen over and over again and like echo and like reverb. Reverb,
Hello,
if you say words
everybody.
correctly.
My name is Bird Hapley, and these are the words that I'm saying it with my mouth.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's staying in.
Okay.
No, I think that the doctor was fantastic, and I loved when fairly early on when Bill's like being excited about things, and she notices the lights under the ice, and he doesn't, or no, he does, but she's not sure he does. Afterwards, he was like, "Well, you were enjoying yourself. I figured
Yeah.
we'd get to work eventually." And I like that about this doctor, where some of the doctors would be like very like, no, now we're doing this. This doctor's like, no, yeah, she's having fun. We'll get to work eventually.
Do you want me to make you sad?
Let's do it.
If they had gotten to work on it right away, that kid wouldn't have died. That's the kid drowning.
The doctor had no way to know that.
That kid had to go. He was thieving from people. What was that going to grow into? No good.
Matt. I'm shaking my finger at you.
He is. He's actually literally shaking his finger at me. Literally. No, we don't want to kill children. But you did make
Stephen
a
Moffat
really.
does.
You did. Well, no, not Stephen Moffat. Sarah Dollard.
Oh, well, yeah.
But Stephen Moffat approved it. Like, okay, why not?
Steve Moffat approved.
It's not like it's going to be my name on this. On this turd burglar. What? That's wrong. We're going to just put so many poop references, nobody can touch them.
There was one more when Bill was going to say the S word.
Oh yes, that
I
was
feel like I'm like 11 now.
the best.
And then
The best joke in the show,
it cuts away.
and it makes a horse sound. The horse neigh was probably also the best. You mean? That was the best. Oh, also in that scene, that was probably a time that one of the few times that we got to see the sonic screwdriver or the sonic psychic paper, right?
Oh, yes.
It's not been around for a while.
It hasn't. And the doctor even referenced, is like, I miss doing this.
If I had to say under pressure, I like something about this episode, it would be the return of the psychic paper and the brazen infiltration of this thing they don't know. They don't have no idea what's going on here, but we'll say we do just to get access. Yeah, I miss those days.
I love that, and then trying to like guess what the authority is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. This
Mr. Carpenter or
Yeah.
Cartwright, Catwild. Come on, I got it. It's so close.
Sutcliffe.
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 Oh, that fat orange tabby.
So
Sutcliffe, Sutcliffe, no one should freeze-ify their neighborhood.
Oh my goodness! Like 4 people are going to get that. It's great.
So it's really easy to sum up the plot of this episode in that Sutcliffe's family has been feeding this beast for generations. Sutcliffe is very bad, and
Very blue.
he's very blue. And one of my other favorite scenes from this was the doctor lecturing Bill, let me do the talking. We need diplomacy, tact, and maybe a bit of charm.
Oh yes, I love that scene. This is another thing, Gabe, that I love about this show, this episode specifically, and it was good, and just like the whole thing of like, okay, you need to let me talk because you're just a little bit irrational, and I feel like in the past, like especially with a temper. I mean, we've seen the doctor at his tempery. I mean, like, he can have a bit of a temper himself, but he's just like, look, this is what we got to do, right? We got to get information. And like, has this whole big speech. Although I saw it coming, I'm like, what? He's going to punch somebody in the face. Because it was like set up so much about, all right, we have to keep a cool head. We can't act rash. At the end of the day, what does he say? Something about passion,
He tells her she can lose her temper.
yeah. Well, he has like this little speech about passion is something.
Passion wins fights, diplomacy wins wars.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Or like rationality or reason wins or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. And then the second that Sutcliffe, no one should be racist in their neighborhood. That's what's happening right
Yeah,
now.
so
he's
he-
very racist.
He walks in
Terribly.
and sees Bill sitting on one of his chairs and was like, get up, girl. How dare you sit in front of your betters or whatever.
Oh, gentrify. That's what I should have said. Sutcliffe, no one should gentrify their neighborhood. There.
So he says that. The doctor immediately wheels around and punches him.
He also gets a read on his humanity, or I shouldn't say humanity, on his actually being a human.
Yes, he's a human, 31 years old, blah, blah, blah.
Lone iron.
Yes. I wonder if Sutcliffe would have been a Levy or a Remain.
He'd clearly been a leave.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant Levy, like a thing that like lets water through.
A
or
Brexit.
doesn't.
Yes. I'm just thinking politically. Nobody likes Sutcliffe.
This is Politicast.
This is Politicast.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think the fish was? Lever, remain.
Well, obviously a Levy.
Okay.
Because he levied the... levied the area.
It's pronounced levy.
Oh, levy. Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Oh, I made a pun. I'm Don McLean. Everybody loves me. What? Sorry. Okay. So
shortly after, the doctor realizes that he's human. He has another good line, which is, I preferred when you were alien. It explained the lack of humanity.
right, which reminds me of an episode of Torchwood.
Get out.
Where there's
I'm not joking. Get out.
oh, sorry. Reminds me of Cyber Girl or Cyber
that
Woman or
one.
whatever that was.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh.
No, I had to leave. I'm sorry. You talking about that?
No,
be back.
there was an episode of Torchwood where they were fighting a group that they thought this has to be alien, and the horrible fact was that they were 100% human, and that was the scary bit. People's evil knows no bounds. Isn't that right, Gabe?
Yes. Sutcliffe was, like, pretty one-dimensionally evil. He was what some of us in America might say deplorable.
Deplorable. Yes. Possibly a basket of deplorables.
Yes, cheers to that.
Him and his basket of deplorables. I'm sorry. I'm saying political things.
But I will also say this. It's very satisfying when a character like that gets their comeuppance. So one of the things that was... Because, again, this plot was fairly simple. So, big thing under the sea eats people. Evil guy feeds it people to get this thing.
Goo.
Right. We get rid of evil guy. But one of the things that we talked about off this podcast was...
We never talk about things on the podcast.
No,
Why
we
do you
don't.
keep saying
Every
that?
time that we talk about this is fresh and new.
We were talking about the fact that the doctor gave Bill the choice, which we've seen before, because it's your planet, it's your choice.
Let's make it right.
It's very clear the doctor has a preference, because he tries to string along, in this case, Bill, but we've seen that before, where when he gives the human the choice, he has a clear preference, but still says, it's up to you. And Joseph had a problem with that.
Well, yeah, because he never... Okay, almost never does that. He usually just does what needs to be done to save the day. Usually.
Yeah.
This one particularly struck me as the... You may know this trope from the internet. The Dragon Quest, but thou must. Where if you answer no, you just get the same dialogue box again and have to answer yes to continue. So that's basically what Bill was in. Like, she had to get the right answer before the thing could continue.
Well,
But she chose the right thing the first time.
Right, so she doesn't have to go through the loop. But
it seemed as though this was another test. Like, the doctor was kind of testing her, saying, like, all right, well, this is the right answer. Letting the beast go. Is it controversial to call it a beast?
no, it was the beast below.
It's a big fish.
The beast.
But now we need more drinks, so let's take a break.
All right, let's take a break. Oh, and we are back. Thank you, everybody. Welcome back.
Delicious drinks.
Out of drink.
Oh,
wait,
you're out of drink.
We
What?
made a mistake somehow and did not actually fully drink this. What is wrong with us?
All right,
Time for a break.
time for a break.
Are we back from the break?
We're back from the break.
Nice. Let's drink to breaks.
Cheers.
Cheers. Anyway, Doctor Who sometimes is a TV show that we watch.
Yes.
It's infrequent, I understand.
Yes.
But
They had an episode. So one of the big important bits of it was
Fish Monster.
the fish monster and the monster wearing that blue coat with tails,
Blue Monster.
who was a circusman. Wasn't he a circusman?
I don't know what you mean by that exactly. Like, he worked for a circus, or he made a circus, or
I thought he worked for a circus or something.
he was Andy Circus.
Did I misinterpret that whole thing? I thought that he was part of a circus
No, he was just a bad man.
because he was dressed like a freaking ringmaster.
Oh, yeah, he was not a ringleader or a ringmaster. He had no mastery of rings whatsoever. Oh,
Okay.
but Blue, he might have been Sonic the Hedgehog. You're right. Sorry. Take it back.
What? No.
Classic Sonic music.
Yes.
No, so he was from an aristocratic family.
I call it the aristocrats.
I call it the Aristocats.
Everybody wants to kill their whole neighborhood because of reasons in ice with Big Fish. Big Fish, directed by Tim Burton.
Starring Ewan McGregor as the fish.
No, so Sutcliffe was pretty despicable.
Mm-hmm.
He very was.
I think I mentioned before the last break that
Which break?
There's a lot of
the
them.
most previous break
Okay.
that when you have someone like him who's so bad, it's rewarding when you see him get killed. I know that sounds dark, but I mean it was like when it happened, you were kind of like, yeah.
Oh yeah, you definitely want, regardless of the believability of his
The horrible,
Yes.
horrible CG effects. It was seriously something I would expect to see the season before Eccleston. It was pretty bad.
It was McGann bad.
No, that'd be McCoy.
No.
That wasn't a season. That was a movie.
But he would.
That was the season of our discontents. That's
Did you
Shakespeare.
not see that effect that happened when he pressed against the window? Remember he pressed against the window to show Grace that reality was collapsing?
It was like, yeah, it was seriously like someone did that on Video Toaster.
Video toaster.
It was, yeah, that was about the level of the effects that were happening when this guy bit it.
Yeah.
But we don't know that he bit it. The fish just broke the ice. We don't know that he got eaten.
He could have been transported. They did talk about transportations. They're like, do you want to get transported too?
Well, I don't think anything fancy happened. I think maybe he just fell in the ice and then could have gotten away.
Yeah.
Because when Bill and the doctor are attacked by the pilot fish, they just go in the water. They don't get eaten.
Yeah.
But they were also in those kind of amazing diving suits.
So amazing that you don't need air tanks.
Yeah, that's right.
You just need tubes.
They were like Jules Verne-esque diving suits.
But you don't need any actual oxygen.
There had been tubes visible at some point.
There was tubes, but they weren't going anywhere. They're going into the suit.
Breathing is just a series of tubes. It's fine.
I'm saying it was a stupid oversight, and it was dumb and stupid.
I get the feeling that if the doctor is pulling out diving suits, they're probably like TARDIS approved.
They were olden.
But they looked olden, but they probably had like very fancy things happening on the inside of them. They were tied together by a rope.
They had an oxygen membrane in there.
That's all they had going for them.
Then why do they need tubes?
No, it was a rope. They were just tied together so that if one got pulled, they would both get pulled.
Yes.
Hate.
That's very, very odd
Yeah.
to see Matt hating anything.
This is like me actually trying to justify, and Matt is saying no. You are wrong.
That's the one thing I'm clinging on to. I'm like, there's no oxygen anywhere.
And I'm still here in the middle, folks.
You're still in the middle, stuck in the middle with you.
Even Stevens.
Steelers wheel. That's who
Knock in the
sang
middle.
that song. Oh, hey. I know things. Don't even try pub trivia. Ask a Steelers wheel question. I'll answer it.
What is Steelers Wheel?
Steelers Wheel is the band that sang Stuck in the Middle with You.
Oh, okay. The ocean's big and it's blue.
No,
Wait, that's not right.
One of the things that I enjoyed, I did enjoy things of this. I agree with Joseph, though. I think that the sum of the parts was not.
Wow, I'm alone here liking this
Some of the
episode.
parts was a not. That, I think, is the best way to say that.
It's unusual for me to be alone liking it.
But that's the thing, though. I didn't hate this episode. I have no strong feeling about it.
So I thought this was an enjoyable episode of Doctor Who, and I liked the message. So ultimately,
The message was good. I'll give you that. And the Doctor had great speeches. I liked the speech that he gave, talking about it doesn't matter like what you do or your class or it basically it's about how you treat people.
right.
And that's great.
And it was a little bit meta because both Bill and Sutcliffe referenced that speech. So that's pretty unusual. They were like, Sutcliffe is like, oh, good speech. But Bill also referenced the speech.
This is my badge on my shirt. And it basically sums up what the Doctor says.
Yeah. Love your neighbor.
Don't be a jerk.
Yes, I like it. But I feel like we've ran circles around this episode.
I have this feeling for many episodes this season, which is all of them.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot to say about them. They are very episode.
They have a lot of... and again, this episode had a lot of good things in it. There's a lot of good things in this episode. I thought that there's a lot of good speeches, a lot of good things behind what like the Doctor was doing. I don't know. This episode didn't do it, like especially when you compare it with Kill the Raven. Wait, what? No.
Beat the Raven. Find the Raven.
Yes.
Face the Raven.
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Face the Raven. Face the Raven was so fun. It was sad, and you had you had a freaking amazing, like, soul shaking speech from the doctor afterwards. Oh gosh, you did that whole thing that he gives to Maisie Williams about making him angry.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Exactly, the "you wouldn't like me when I'm angry" speech. Oh, so good. It like pales compared to anything spoken here, and there's a lot of great things said here.
No, I thought it was so good. I mean,
what level of good? Like, would you say it was the Zygon inversion good?
no. So
No, because that would be blasphemy, Gabe.
no. So here, on a 10-point scale, I give this a none. It's an episode that manages to fit in charm and humor and feels and like actual social commentary into one 45-minute episode. I mean, that's all I asked for in a show, is to give me something that is both thought-provoking and humorous and meaningful in a show. And it did all that.
We watched Doctor Who for different reasons, Gabe.
No, but I watch almost anything asking for those things. Like when I think about why I love Star Trek so much. Star Trek, except for Enterprise, mostly delivered those things. I mean, granted, it's a different show. They're pumping out 22 episodes a season, but when I think of the episodes that I loved, they're the ones that were funny, poignant, thought-provoking, all in the same, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of forgettable.
Is that why you watch Star Trek, Joseph?
He likes lasers.
Jokes and lasers.
Jokes and lasers. Those are my two favorite things in any show. So if you can give me one of them or the other, you're doing pretty good. If you can deliver both, which sometimes Doctor Who does deliver, you're doing amazing.
Very few lasers.
This episode, no lasers at all.
So there were a couple of misdirections in this episode. Switching gears, the Doctor gave Bill. One of them was at the end when Sutcliffe planned to blow up the river.
Right.
And the Doctor tells Bill, clear the river, which she tries to do. And she gets close, but there's still some people that are just not listening.
Yes.
And there's that point when Bill realizes she can't save everybody. So she opts to just save the most that she can.
Right.
And that was a pretty important moment, I think.
That was an important moment because when she first is having that like meltdown for the Doctor, it's like, how come you can't save everybody? And I think we even said like she's getting very like Donna Noble on the Doctor right now. Like very Fires of Pompeii. Just this one group. We're not just saying everybody. And then she does the whole like realizing this was the episode of, and I think this is one of the things that kind of like wore me a little bit about things, where it was like, I'm so exhausted of companions learning that it's like, oh wow, the Doctor's really amazing, and then oh wow, the Doctor here's the adventures that the Doctor goes on. Oh, now the Doctor's like, I'm noticing that the honeymoon's over. The Doctor has to like kill people, and he has a dark side. Now I'm mad at the Doctor. I'm mad. And so
she didn't go there. She became like, she realized, oh wow, we can do a greater good, or we can do no good. And
exactly.
She chose the greater good.
Yeah. So at first she was like, I'm mad. And then that whole thing of trying to take the Doctor to task, and like, oh yeah, well tell me how many people you freaking remember dying, and freaking how many freaking people have you killed? What's like? I'm gonna freaking take you to court with a hat. And he was like, dude, chill. Look, I have to get over this stuff, or else if I don't, more people die. Boom. I'm 2,000 years old. Let's live above this. So then she actually goes to the point of, and this is what I liked. After like that speech that he made, then there's that part where they're in the cart. And I didn't even remember this from the night before, but rewatching again, it was really cool. The whole thing of like her realizing, oh wow, how long does it take it? Thank you for making that speech. That was really, really cool. And how long have you been around? 2,000 years. Does it take that long to make a speech like that? Because it's really worth it. Like that was a really cool and nice scene. Like her coming together and saying, all right, I get it. And then her actually on the ice realizing that, screw it, I can't save everybody, so I'm going to get the children out of here. I'm going to make sure that the people that need to get out of here, if anything. And as this psychopath is blowing up everything. But what's going on? The doctor is repurposing all the drums to break the chains on the big fish.
Yeah, so, I mean, the moment was telling because Bill thought this was like do or die. The doctor made her think this is do or die. It's almost like you said earlier, he was testing her.
Yes.
And then she realized, oh crap, I'm just going to try and save the most I can. And then the doctor, in his way, had already kind of rigged the game so that nobody would die who wasn't bad.
Right.
But again, this is partly why I love the episode, is like, it's another example of the doctor being like the uber hero. And like I think I said very early in this podcast, you have to not think about what he's saying, but what he does.
Right.
So what he says sounds a bit cold, indifferent, calculating. But in actuality, the doctor tries to save everybody if he can. And he did do that. Only bad guys got their comeuppance in this episode.
Or come down into the ice.
Come
get eaten.
Come drownance.
Come drownance.
So yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, this is my favorite genre of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I did not think it was fantastic, but I thought it was
serviceable.
I thought it was serviceable. I thought that there's a lot of good moments in it, but ultimately it was not something that I would be excited to come back to. Like if I were to introduce Doctor Who to somebody, I don't think that I would point to this episode.
So far this season, if I'm going to go on a 10-point scale, I'd probably give the pilot an 8. Last week, whatever that was called, Smile, a 6, and this one a 9.
This is the best one out of
this. This is the greatest episode of Doctor Who ever this season.
Well, we're only 3 in. We'll see what happens next week.
I will say I really like the part with Nardole. Again, I loved that Nardole picked up where he left off last.
Because he had no clue until he saw their clothes.
I love Matt Lucas so much.
And he saw their clothes and was like, but your oath.
These aren't our full clothes.
Yes.
These are my tea drinking clothes. Shut up.
But, I mean, the doctor still had a good point. Is like, because Nardole was like, you promised you wouldn't go off-world. And he was like, are these off-world clothes? I don't think so.
Get it together, Nardole.
But then, fast forward a little bit more, and Nardole's looking at the vault door, and there's something knocking three times.
Three times.
Dang. But then it knocks, I think, a fourth time. Maybe.
I think the last time it's like, and then there's the fourth.
I feel like this is a misdirection. It's making you think that it's going to be the Master, and it's not going to be the Master, or it could be the Master. Who knows?
Find out next week.
Do we have a WhoTube, Matt?
We do have a WhoTube. Our WhoTube is
Batman.
Alfred, Bring me the YouTube.
Our YouTube is by Grazy TV.
How many E's is that?
How many E's? Just one.
Okay.
But it's GRAYZE TV. And it says Doctor Who, a doctor, a warrior, and it's really cool. It has 4 of the most recent Doctors in no particular order, and it's great and fantastic, and just enjoy it.
Look at it with your eyes.
Yes, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. And be sure to check out our other things on the internet. You can go to our website at aotpodcast.com, and they have our Facebook page link.
We have our Facebook.
We have our Facebook page link.
It has it.
We have also our Twitter handle at AOT Podcast, and that you can reach us over that way. And there's also
Our
iTunes,
YouTube,
iTunes, Stitcher. Go ahead and rate us and leave us a comment and all that great stuff.
Search and like,
Tell
favorite,
us that you
and share.
love us. Tell us that you love us.
we really want iTunes reviews.
We do, because that makes us happy and that makes us important.
It makes us appear towards
If you really
higher on the list.
if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to make a difference in the world,
Vote.
yes,
don't-
first of all, vote.
secondly, vote. First of all, rate this podcast and comment on it. That will make the most difference for us.
Don't worry, Matt probably reads all the things.
All right.
do.
So for this episode, Matt's been Matt.
And Gabe's been Gabe.
But who have I been? There's no way to know.
And this has been the Arrow of Time.
Do 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 do.
Oh, we go back to the old theme song.
Jibbity-boo-boo.